something like 200 million things were purchased on Amazon, which in 2 days seems astronomical. Amazon has been able to single-handedly make it more exciting in the middle of summer for e-commerce brands because it's not just an Amazon event anymore. People are willing and able to open up their wallet.
Lots of money being spent, but also economic times, inflation, etc., which I would tend to agree with based on our client base we're seeing. What do you think this means for the rest of the year? Ryan, I am pretty sure both of us are sporting a lighter bank account balance this week because last week was, as we all know, Amazon Prime Day. Your notes tell me that you're going to let me know how small of a part my family played in the grand scheme of Prime Day spending, but I had proof. I bought some AirPods Max that were super cheap. So, at least comparatively, I guess for headphones, they're still expensive. But when your wife works close enough you could high five her half the week, you need something to cancel out the noise. So
yes, you'll have to let me know what you think of those because I've been debating for a while the AirPods Max, the Bose, or the Sony.
The Sonos has new ones too.
Sonos, that's right. Sonos came out with new ones.
I will say I did some research, and for the price, they're the same as most of the other ones now. I'm an Apple ecosystem person, so it made sense for me. If I wasn't in the Apple ecosystem, I may not care. But they have been amazing so far, and they drowned out Zoom talking. Let's call it that. So good to go. But I am assuming the world spent more this year than last year on Amazon Prime Day. Or should we call it days? I know they call it Prime Day, but it's...
I know. I don't know why it hasn't gotten to the plural yet.
In fact, it's the following week. And I saw ads this morning for people, actually for AirPods. I got kind of upset about it. But they had AirPods for $25 less than what I paid on Prime Day, but only the pink color, which made me think probably was safe and wasn't going to buy the pink color.
Somebody didn't buy enough pink ones.
There you go.
So, I mean, Prime days, it is all kind of interesting, especially when the reporting we can get out of Amazon is Amazon telling us, okay, Amazon, I mean, we'll probably never hear about a Prime Day that is down year over year just because Amazon gets to tell us whatever they want because it doesn't even matter in the grand scheme of their things.
Fair enough.
It was a big day. They said it was up. Something like 200 million things were purchased on Amazon, which in 2 days seems astronomical.
How do you deliver that? That's what I'd like to know.
That's what my mind first went to. The logistics behind that seems crazy, especially because my wife and I each have an app on our phone. We each buy things without telling the other, and it's not even a shared car. And so it all gets delivered individually over 5 deliveries a day.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I feel sorry for logistics people at Amazon. If specifically for my house, I'm sorry you guys couldn't just deliver one box, but so goes it.
I tell people all the time that Amazon is not an e-commerce site. They are a logistics company that happens to fulfill your orders. And the reality is they are now a delivery company. They are a back office systems company. They're doing great things in robotics for warehouses. Not to mention that they run most of the internet, or a good portion of it, let's just say, off of their servers.
Yeah, AWS, yes.
Exactly. So, Amazon, they can fulfill your orders, but they're not an e-com company. They are able to do that at margin and at scale, and that's where the benefit is.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I can't wait till I can still see drones flying in. I think that's going to be cool, whether it works or not.
Until one drops on your house.
Yeah, until it drops on my house or it drops my package from 100 feet.
Let's not talk about that.
There's going to be issues for sure. But the punchline is Amazon has been able to single-handedly make it more exciting in the middle of summer for e-commerce brands and sellers with Prime Days. because it's not just an Amazon event anymore. People are willing and able to open up their wallet when previously this was just like, all right, people are on vacation. They're not going to buy anything. So let's all go on vacation as well. It's taking away the slow months in my world.
Yeah, no surprise there. Especially because every DTC brand now thinks that, well, it's Prime Day, I got to do something on my site as well. So, but look, as I already mentioned, I found things on sale that I wanted. Were the deals better this year? I've heard a lot of people complaining that prices were up, meaning that a week, 2 weeks before Prime Day, brands raised their prices and then dropped them back to the normal price for Prime Day, which is kind of shady, but I get it to a certain degree. If you have no margins already, how are you going to discount?
Well, it also shows, to a degree, how dumb some of us are. We think we're getting a deal, so we just click buy without actually doing more research. Mm-hmm. Because I am in e-com all day, every day. I've been trained, or I trained myself. My wife now follows suit a little bit, where you got to figure out what you're going to buy before Prime Day comes around. Like if you're going on Prime Day to find what you're going to buy, you're probably in trouble. Mm-hmm. And so we'll talk through it and say, okay, what do we need for back to school, for birthdays coming up, or things my wife and I'd like, hey, we would love this, but if it's on a deal, it makes sense. If it doesn't, don't do it. And things go in the cart usually 1 to 2 weeks beforehand, so that we can see, oh, did this actually go on sale? Or did it go from 100 to 130 to come back to 105? Then it's not a deal. So be smarter about it, people. A lot of us and a lot of you out there listening probably weren't.
Well, I was not. But, that made me just think. Amazon does the homework for you, because when you put something in your cart and you go back to your cart later, it will tell you if the price has been adjusted. It has a little summary at the top of your cart and says, so-and-so went up in price, it's now X. And that can be really helpful for me, because I watch stuff all the time and I'm like, okay, my stuff always is sitting in my cart on Amazon. I'm definitely raising their abandoned cart rate, but I do it because of that.
You're hurting their conversion rates.
I'm hoping
trying to get yourself a job.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm hoping that just my little abandoned cart will help them to see the light and hire the good. But yes.
Yes. Well, and I do have, because I'm in Amazon all the time, I do have plugins that show price changes over time. Mm-hmm. So there's some tools you can get that maybe most of you out there listening don't have, which is fine. But it does seem that Amazon, I felt anyway, and the stuff we were looking at, the deals were not as good. Like the prices obviously up year over year. I needed to buy a new speaker for playing golf, because I like music when I'm golfing, because I'm one of those guys on the internet or out on the golf course. And we did know the price of them, so I found a $100 one that was discounted to $75, and that was actually a good deal. So that got my tech purchase. But we did see a lot of things that actually went up in price. And in fact, one of the more surprising things that came out of the data I've been looking at is there's this AeroGarden. So if you're a fan of growing your own herbs, if you bought the AeroGarden during Prime Days, you likely paid almost $40 more than you would have paid 2 weeks before. And it's not like $40 on a $500 product. This was, it went from on average on Amazon, $82 to $120.
So it went up a third.
It went, but a 50% increase on what its price was before, and the sales rank went up. Their sales volume almost quintupled. So
the question is AeroGarden ever going to drop their price now? I don't see why they would.
I don't either. And so I don't know if you were, and I just don't know how that worked. There was, I don't know if you had a bunch of influencers that were pumping it. So you had external traffic that said, hey, if people haven't shopped this before, we're hitting a bunch of new influencer audiences, driving the traffic to Amazon, they're just going to buy it. Or if you deflated the price on Amazon to do something to compete with a sale on your site. I don't know. Because Amazon doesn't allow you to price something higher on Amazon than your other channels. If you were running some deals through Walmart or Target the week before, you had to match that. That deal's done. Everything's back up to retail price. That can be some of it as well. But I thought that was surprising considering that's a decently well-known brand. I think they have 21,000 reviews on Amazon, which means they've sold a good amount. And volume quintupled with a 50% price jump. That is insane to me.
Yeah, it definitely. I would always be running that sale. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. And so overall, though, what was tracked that we have access to, it does appear that sales were more aggressive this year. So that means the retailers and sellers were pricing things at a higher discount this year than they did last year.
Okay.
It was led by televisions this year. Last year it wasn't. The biggest discount was on televisions, and it went from 5% off last year during Prime to 16% this year. Or as far as the biggest increase in discounts, I'll say that. And so that tells me
I didn't need a television.
Yeah, it tells me that evidently there's been enough of a slowdown in television that they're getting a little scared.
I do think during COVID, everyone bought a television because they were sitting around. They're like, I got to watch this in 4K if I'm going to watch this much TV. So, yeah, that was just a few years ago. Most people don't need a new TV by now. So that definitely makes sense.
It does. And I think there's not been a massive enough update in television technology to dictate that I need to have this. Like for us, we got frame TVs when we moved into our new house. Like there's new frame TVs that have better glare protection, but I'm like, is it that big of a deal? Like,
yeah.
When it's sunny out, I'm usually working. So
yeah, exactly.
There's not a lot of need for me to watch TV without glare. But electronics overall, like you saw with the Apple AirPods Max, that's where the biggest discounts across the board were. In fact, it was up to 23% off this year across the board on electronics, up from 14% last year. So as a percentage of discount, much higher. So people are looking to, and again, those are probably higher margin products many of the time as well. So you can offer the more aggressive discounts. What I find interesting in these discounts, though, you can't just get into Prime Day and get more aggressive as you see the competition getting aggressive. So most of these deals are 2 months or more before the event decided. So right now, Amazon is now telling everybody about the fall Prime Days, which is usually in October. You have to have your deal locked in by August 6th.
Oh,
so
okay.
We just finished one. Now you've got to set your deal for the next month. And that's a decent ways in the future. You've got to set your discount now. So
maybe this is an obvious question, but do you think they do that to prevent sellers from gaming the system?
I just think it's such a high volume time and such a strain on servers with shopping. You can't keep pushing new deals through in real time in the system and have it work. I think it's too many opportunities for things to break and register Prime deals with what's on sale now, how many units are there going to be. Like it just so many moving pieces that if you could get in there and be like, oh, I see, Bob's Herb Garden just got a 40% off discount. I got to jump it to 45%. Like I would imagine Amazon gets there at some point. It's just they're just not quite there as far as handling that. I mean, and actually Amazon's campaign manager went down on Prime Day. Ooh. So the first day. So there's struggles there.
Well, there's proof.
Yeah. So this tells me that even 3 months ago when you had to lock in your deal, retailers and sellers were feeling some pain and knew they needed to discount things more to get to the top of the heap to be able to sell more stuff. Or in AeroGarden spot, who cares? I'm going to raise the price and I'm going to sell a ton more just because of their name and branding. So lots going on, lots off Amazon, actually. In fact, there was over 14 billion sold off Amazon.
I was going to ask, 2 days. What sellers benefited outside of Amazon this year? Because you already mentioned there's got to be a spillover effect.
Yeah, people just get in the mood to buy. And we saw in the week before, you had Walmart and Target both doing their version of Prime Day, so trying to trump Amazon and take all of their money before. It doesn't really work because not enough people search those or sell them. But I think the people that were pulled and things I saw, 35% of them shopped the Walmart days beforehand, and 34% shopped the Target Circle thing before. And I can only speak to my household. We didn't care about either one of those. I actually looked at, because I'm curious and always searching them, I looked at the Target stuff because I was looking for headphones. My wife has the Bose ones of yours, and so I've tested those just to see, because they came out and said, I think it was were they looking for the AirPod? Oh, yeah, it was the AirPod Max. They had this great deal, and they sent it to me as an exclusive before, because we have the Circle card or whatever their Target card is. And the discounted price, they did the inflate the price, then discount price thing, and it was the same price everywhere. Like I could have got it from Apple directly for the same price as Target, and they were sending it to me like I was special. So I think there were issues there with how they executed their sale to compete with Amazon.
So, so TVs, electronics, but were those the two biggest verticals people were buying, or were there others?
I mean, people are just spending money. I think those were probably the biggest spending verticals. I don't know if I saw the overall spends, but beauty grew crazy amounts year over year. In fact, it was by Salesforce, who's obviously not Amazon, but they're just tracking all of their sellers and combining that with some Adobe data. Beauty was up dramatically year over year. It looks like makeup was up 30% year over year as far as makeup sales and deals. So that surprised me a lot. And it also tells me, because there was this big pullback in beauty, specifically makeup, during COVID. And so I think we're getting back to probably a more normal time and people going out and seeing people in person. So makeup is coming back. And it also feels to me, there's a feeling, this is not real data, but it feels like there's a lot of beauty brands that have come out just in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
there's been a lot more influencer makeup brands that you hear about, right? From social, et cetera. So not surprising.
Yeah, I think the TikTok ads have done quite a bit for beauty brands and getting people to discover new. I think the algorithm on Meta is better now for helping people discover new brands, because I'm probably not super weird when it comes to how I consume media through Meta, but I am not there to post about myself or my family or like anything like that, or really to connect with people. Like I've got other avenues that I connect with people, and so Meta and Instagram have become more of an entertainment reel for me. And so scrolling, and most of them is entertainment that I don't follow. It's just, hey, they knew I liked this, so they put something in front of me, and I'll, maybe there's 15 minutes before bed that I'll go laugh at comedians or just find something dumb to relax my brain. And that process of discovery means that I'm not averse to seeing content that I'm not following. And their algorithm is pretty good at figuring out what I like and keeping that flowing through the feed as I scroll. So I think that beauty brands in particular have benefited from that in getting new products. And I'll say the discoverability of your video, even though if you're not promoting it, can be high because it's being pushed into feeds that you're not even trying to get into, because TikTok, Instagram, Facebook want you to stay in the want people to stay in the platform, so they'll put it in front of them if it's an entertaining video. So not surprising to me, that category.
Not surprising, but were there any surprises besides that Arrow Garden that you mentioned?
Well, it's always surprising to me the amount of volume increase, because I know we're heading into difficult economic times. If we're not already there, we've been in inflation and the jobs reports are not great. So I can see the data saying, where is all this money coming from that's being spent?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just the 1% spending a lot more on stuff. It's everybody is spending money during this random week in July.
Yeah.
And so that just constantly surprised me. 200 million things were bought. Like, that is just a big number. I wouldn't think that should be done in this economy or where we're at now. But speaking on the other side of the Arrow Garden, Fitbit did a heavy discount. In fact, what was the Fitbit discount on there? Fitbit went from before Amazon, or before Prime Days, $151 average price point
Okay.
on the few days or week leading up to Prime Days. And then they went just under 100. So that's a key price point. They went to $99.95, which is a good price point for technology. And they moved from pre-Prime Day, rate about 100 in the sporting goods category to number one on the day their deal was going. And their volume of units sold went from, I think it was averaging somewhere, let's say between 600, 700 units a day to almost 6,000 units sold in one day on Amazon at the discounted price point. And then there's this halo effect, which I don't think a lot of sellers think about when they're setting a deal. But on Amazon, if you're able to get number one on all sporting goods on Amazon, that has a cascading effect on your Amazon's choice across all these categories and searches that are being done. And it's like the SEO of moving to number one is massive because it's likely, and we don't do anything for Fitbit, so I don't have a horse in this game, but it's likely they didn't go into their Fitbit listing and do a bunch of quote unquote keyword stuffing and SEO work leading up to this.
Right.
Amazon SEO was dependent on sales velocity. How much money are you making Amazon? The more money you make Amazon, the higher you rank. It's not complicated. And the days after the sale, their volume stayed up extremely high. So there's something to be said about juicing your volume with a deal to rank higher on the important categories to increase how much people are buying from you. And so that's an example opposite of AeroGarden where they were say, hey, we're going to juice this with some sales and then price is going to go back up, but our rank is high enough and most people are not paying attention to historical prices.
Right.
And so they're going to think, oh, people are paying $150 for this, so I'm going to go buy it because it's worth it.
Right. Must be good. So,
Yeah.
okay, to me, this all sounds like big numbers. But what does this mean for the rest of the year? You mentioned on one hand, large sales increases, not a lot of discounts, true discounts, I'll say. Lots of money being spent, but also economic times, inflation, et cetera, which I would tend to agree with based on our client base. We're seeing quite a bit right now. What do you think this means for the rest of the year?
I mean, I somewhat probably, I think I sound like a broken record sometimes. I'm talking about, hey, the holiday's going to start earlier, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think the normal things you've heard about holiday prep is going to be valid this year. But seeing the rate of increase in discounts tells me there's a lot of brands getting aggressive, trying to get market share or just get sales to stay afloat. So if you already had a bunch of inventory in Amazon, you're paying warehousing fees, holding costs on that inventory. Like until you sell it, you can't go buy more stuff or buy the next model or upgrade that stuff. So if you're sitting on old inventory, you're just going to try to dump it and get out of it so you can buy stuff again, or you need cash to pay employees. So I think we're going to see some pretty heavy discounts locked in for the Prime Day and then also for the Turkey 5. And so I would, as a seller, not want to be holding inventory heading into December. Like if you've got stuff December 10th this year you're trying to sell, I mean, you'd better have a physical storefront to sell those in because you're not going to get a lot of people online, I don't think.
Interesting.
So prepare to sell. And my advice to advertisers for I think 10 years in a row has been your discount during holiday should make you a little bit uncomfortable. I think there will be a lot of people that undercut you. And so you've got to have strategies for how am I going to get traffic if I'm not the lowest price on Google, which in the past, maybe your aggressive discount was able to get you that. And paying attention to traffic from off Amazon to Amazon. If Amazon is your main sales channel, you need to be paying attention to sales rank and how you're getting sales without using just Amazon ads, because it is getting a lot more expensive on Amazon, as you'd expect that.
Yeah.
ROAS decrease, ACost increase.
It's getting everywhere. It's getting tight. One term you said that stuck out to me because I've been in e-com for a decade plus. I've never heard the term Turkey 5, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
What are the Turkey
There
5?
is
It's the Thanksgiving, what was traditionally
through
Black Friday.
Cyber Monday.
Okay. I
So
love
sales no longer are exclusively on Black Friday now. So Thanksgiving's got sales. So you got to include that day. And then you'll have Black Friday sales extended over the weekend every time. And then Cyber Monday kicks off, and that's the Turkey 5. But then you'll have an overlap on Cyber Week because almost every brand has a surprise. The demand dictates that we keep our sale on, and we're gonna all week you've got Cyber Monday pricing. Like it's not a surprise anymore. Just like
that. Right.
I know you're going to be on sale. So it's just targeting, and I think you're going to probably need to figure out how to get more creative. And this is, it goes back to a lot of things you've talked about a lot of times. Like you can always increase your conversion rate by dropping your price.
Right.
Like that's not a complicated thing to do, and it doesn't take John's brain or Ryan's brain to win when you're just going to race to the bottom. Have fun. I think the brands that are going to survive are figuring out how do you do what AeroGarden did. Increase your price 40% and sell 5 times the amount of units. That's the power of a good brand. I don't own that because I have 9 acres, so I don't need to grow my herbs inside because I got them outside. But a vast majority of the planet needs that if they're going to grow their own herbs. So focus on the brand. Make sure your brand is strong and you have a reason to get people that will be willing to pay a premium for that product. And your email lists, your loyalty programs, you have VIP customers if you've been segmenting your data right. Get them the value. You might not need to discount as heavily if they've already bought from you in the past and already like it. Give them first access, early access. Just, again, go listen to John's examples in the previous 100 so episodes where we're talking about how do you get people to buy your stuff without discounting. So if you have to discount to win customers, I foresee difficult times ahead and lots of competition.
Yeah, agreed. Wow. This is a lot to take in. I think that Amazon Prime Day is, they're doing it more than once a year now. And every time it spurs a lot of sales, but I never feel like I'm getting a big discount. I think you kind of confirmed that for me today. So I appreciate you saving me some money here because otherwise I would just go buy because I saw a discount. So I'm going to do your trick I learned today, which is to fill up my cart with everything I want and stick to those items and track the prices beforehand. So I'm on it.
Yes. Don't trust just because it says it's 25% off. It is.
Yeah.
Because it might be a 40% increase in price first.
Love it. All right, Ryan. Well, I appreciate it. We will chat again soon.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.